Welcome to the Slime Side again, and today we are going to set up a plastic box for my Lissachatina fulicas, people. This is gonna be lit because box enclosures for me are the best. They are simply the best, the easiest way, the best way to keep a snail. I know terrarium looks nicer, prettier, whatever, but keeping them in a plastic box without holes is the best way to keep a snail. Let's set up the enclosure for my Lissachatina fulica. Let's go! So at first you need a box, a plastic box, see-through so they can have some light. Of course you need the size for your species, the right size of box for your species. That is very important. Then you need some cocoa soil. Make sure it's soft cocoa soil. I right now have some in my shop. That's the softest one I could find anywhere. Then you pour some water in. You crumble it all up. It's better to have more soil because snails live under the soil almost all their lives. They sleep there. They build their houses under the soil. So you put some calcium carbonate in. You always have to do that with snails. That's a normal procedure because that keeps the houses strong and healthy. You don't want that the houses get weak. Then you put some water in. Make sure that it's enough water so the snail can also dive a little bit. Then some wood. I just found that outside. I freeze that for 48 hours at least so you don't get any small snails that actually could eat your snail. We have some snails in Germany that eat other snails and then they eat them from inside out, and that's not so nice. Here you have some teak leaves, dry teak leaves, cacao guava leaves. You can get everything in my shop right now. What you see, cuttlefish bone, also very important, always, that needs always to be in the enclosure. Dry leaves is actually essential thing if you have a snail. It's essential. They eat it, they hide under that. It's essential. I just poured in some seeds. I will also have that in the shop. The seeds grow and they can nibble on some plants. I have also oyster shell. I put in oyster shell. Some snails prefer oyster shell over cuttlefish. If I cut the pepper, I also put in the seeds. Just, it grows. They have something to nibble on. Then make sure you have a good diet for them. Not only the same. Try not to feed them cucumber or salad because it really has no ingredients for them that they need. Here you see avocado, pepper, all that stuff. Here is a hideout, especially for babies. It's very neat. I also have that in the shop. It's from the catapa tree against mold. In the terrarium, it's very good. You can also use the leaves against mold in the terrarium. And this is, of course, you put in some tropical isopods. I also have that in my shop. They're good because you don't want to clean your terrarium. They eat snail poo-poo, the rest of the food and all that. They keep your terrarium clean and your snail healthy. These are my snails, Lissachatina fulica leucistic and Lissachatina fulica full albino, and I just placed them on their food so they can right away eat something and feel maybe a little bit more comfortable. Try to not change the enclosure a lot because some snail species are very sensitive with that. You will recognize that now when I put them in freshly, they will probably hang on the ceiling for 3 days or something. They're a little bit afraid of the new enclosure, but that's normal. But try not to clean too often or to change the enclosure. It's very important. Some species really die from that. They can die from stress. So, of course, you put in some water. You spray in some water, preferably on the sides. Not too much on the soil and also on the lid inside because you want the humidity in the air, not so much in the soil, but in the air. It's very important. Then you close everything up and that's about it. Make sure not to make holes. They really don't need holes. They're mollusks and they don't need holes. I feed them every 3 to 4 days, so that's enough. When I open the lid, they get enough oxygen to not die, So I put in also some shells in the water. They have something to nibble on inside the water. They can dive a little bit and you see they eat right away. So this is how you set up like a basic enclosure in a box. And I can assure you it's much easier in a box than in a terrarium because the humidity stays inside and the warmth stays inside. You can also place a heat mat on the side of the box, no problem. If that was any helpful to you, you can of course subscribe to this channel, and we see each other for more. See you next time on the slime side of life.